If you are hoping to visit a national park during the month of May, you are in the right place. Today, I want to walk you through my 5 favorite national parks to visit during the month of May. My name is Ash. I'm a former park ranger and the founder of Dirt in My Shoes, and I am in the national parks year-round, all the time, as much as possible. And so today I want to share with you some of my favorite national parks to visit during the month of May. May can be a little bit tricky because for a lot of the national parks that are better during the summer, it might still be a little too early. You might still hit some snow in May in some of these parks. And springtime in a lot of national parks can be a time of transition. And so May is kind of coming at the very end of the springtime stuff, a little bit before the summertime stuff. But there are some parks that are really great during this month, especially if you plan a trip a little later in the month, kind of mid-May into Memorial Day. That area is where these parks will really shine. Can you visit these national parks during other months of the year? Absolutely. These are just some of my favorites for if I need a May trip. These are kind of my go-tos, but this is not an all-inclusive list either. So keep that in mind as I'm talking. Just know that these are some ideas, but not all of them. You can sign up for my National Parks by the Month list. This includes all the months of the year and the national parks that I prefer during that month. And so if you want to get a bigger list than the ones that I'm just talking about today, go sign up for that. You can get it at dirtinmyshoes.com/month. I'll also link that in the video description below so that it's super easy. Pop on over there and you can get a much bigger list of the best national parks to visit during the month of May and every other month of the year. Typically for the month of May, I have one goal, and that's to sneak in before the summer crowds. And so these parks that I'm talking about today are going to be places that it's like, it'd be nice to get in there before it gets too busy. The weather still typically is a little bit iffy sometimes, but you can make it work. And usually the weather will cooperate. The first national park you will find me in during the month of May is Great Sand Dunes National Park in Colorado. This national park is pretty small. A lot of people don't really know about it. It might not be on your radar, but it has the tallest sand dunes in North America. So there's a lot you can do here that's a little bit out of the ordinary, such as sand sledding, or you can even sandboard, which is terrifying, but very fun. You can hike to the top of High Dune, which is a very strenuous hike that takes you to the top of one of the highest dunes in the national park. There's also some hiking trails you can do. The campground's really nice. There's a lot you can do. But my favorite thing about going in May is that typically Medano Creek, which is the creek that runs through the park, is running at its peak flow, usually around the end of May, somewhere in the May 20s. And what that means is that you basically have a beach that you can play on with water in the middle of Colorado. This is really fun. My kids absolutely love being here when the creek is running because you have the sand to play in, then you have the water to play in, you can run around. It's just a ton of fun. Great Sand Dunes is like a giant playground for people of all ages. And so we just love coming here, but especially when the creek is running at full peak. The other nice thing about coming to Great Sand Dunes in May is that it's better for hiking and being on the sand. When you come to this park in the middle of the summer, sometimes that sand just gets so hot that it will burn you if you try to sled on it or hike on it. And so we do typically like to come to this park during the shoulder seasons anyway, but why not come when the creek is flowing? It's really fun. The second national park that I like to be in during the month of May is Redwood National Park in California. Redwood National Park is beautiful. These giant trees that grow is just a magical experience. But for the trees to grow that tall, there has to be quite a bit of rainfall. And I personally don't like to be in the Redwoods during the rainy season, which is why May is a really nice time to be here because the rainfall definitely starts to slow down starting this month, and you can sneak in here before all the summer crowds. Still get pretty good weather. The weather stays fairly mild in this national park because it is so coastal. And so you will start getting those slightly warmer summer temperatures while also getting a little less rainfall than you do during the rainy season. Make sure you go hike through the tall trees grove. Go see some of these really big trees. You can also spend some time in the more beachy areas. Make sure you hike to Fern Canyon, get a reservation for that. It's really cool. Lots of really neat experiences you can have in this park. The other thing that I think is just the cherry on top for visiting Redwood National Park during May is that starting about mid-May into early June, that's when you'll start seeing those rhododendrons start blooming really beautifully. And so that's just an extra perk to visiting this park before the summer season, but after the rainy season. Park number 3 is Badlands National Park in South Dakota. So Badlands is a little bit tricky. A lot of people want to add Badlands onto their summer vacation to Mount Rushmore or anything in that area. But Badlands does stay warmer and hotter and harsher than the other areas that you're probably going to want to see while you're in South Dakota. And so I like to, if I can, and if the weather's looking okay, I like to just go ahead and push my South Dakota vacation into mid-May or later, the last couple weeks of May, so that I can sneak in there and really enjoy some milder temperatures in Badlands National Park. Badlands has an open hike policy, so you really can just hike wherever. You can also do some of the established trails like the Notch Trail. That's always a favorite. There are lots of fossils in this national park, and so you can learn a lot about those at the visitor center or look for them as you're hiking around. The viewpoints in Badlands are great and perfect this time of year. So lots of cool things to do in Badlands. And again, that leads me into park number 4, which is Wind Cave National Park, also in South Dakota. Wind Cave is in the same kind of area as Badlands a little bit, but not really. So Wind Cave is more in your Black Hills, like southern Black Hills, kind of as you're exiting the Black Hills on that side. And so Wind Cave actually has relatively decent weather this time of year as well. And Wind Cave also runs their cave tours year round. And so since you'll be in the cave, that's the main reason you're coming to this park. The outside temperatures and the outside weather don't factor in as much for this national park. I like coming to Wind Cave a little bit before the summer begins, like Memorial Day weekend is perfect for these parks because it isn't as busy. But you still can pretty much do everything. The weather is usually pretty clear by this point. You can usually get out onto the trails and stuff still. A lot of the winter weather has moved on. And so I like being here mid-May or later and just hitting up all of these different things that you can do in the Rapid City area of South Dakota. So what that means, go ahead and plan your South Dakota trip for mid-May or later. Go to Badlands, go to Wind Cave. If you want to add in other places like Custer State Park or Mount Rushmore or Deadwood or Lead or Spearfish, even Devil's Tower if you want to drive out there, then all of those are doable starting around mid-May. You will be able to sneak in there before all those big summer crowds and still just have an epic national park vacation in this area. So then that brings me to park number 5, which is kind of related to these last two, and that's Theodore Roosevelt National Park in North Dakota. So while you're already in South Dakota, you might want to pop up to go see Teddy Roosevelt National Park. It's only a few hours from this Rapid City area, and so it's really easy to go see all of this in one trip. But Teddy Roosevelt National Park usually is pretty good weather at this time of year, and you can get in there, you can see all the things. Again, similar to Badlands, the summer temperatures in this national park can get a little bit uncomfortable. There's not a lot of shade. It's a more harsh landscape. And so coming just a little bit earlier, the last couple weeks of May is really pretty perfect for seeing this national park. The one downside to going to Theodore Roosevelt National Park in the month of May is that the Medora musical is not running until early June, and so you will miss that. So if that's on your list, maybe push your trip into early June so you can go see that. But otherwise, if you're just wanting to get in while it's quiet and before all the summer crowds come in, then the middle or end of May is a really good option. All right, my friend, be sure to click on the link below this video to go sign up for your national parks by month list. It's free, and so you can get all of this information for every month of the year. And if you need any help planning a trip to any of these national parks I've talked about today, head over to dirtandmyshoes.com, where I have tons of articles and resources for you to make your dream trip a reality. I can't wait to see you out there in the national parks. Happy trails.